I know that we all gonna be alright. We gon' make it through if it takes us all night. No matter what the odds may bring our way, I can see the blessings coming our way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Blessings on blessings, yeah. I can see the blessings coming our way. Our way, our way. Blessings on blessings, yeah. I can see the blessings coming our way.
Hey guys,
I'm EJ
and I'm Lex,
and this is
The Lions Den.
and we are super excited to be launching our new series called The Single Season, and this is episode number 1 called
Should I Wait on God for My Spouse? I'm going to say that again. Should I wait on God for my spouse?
And we think the answer is yes, and that's actually why we're here, because this is our passion. We waited on God for each other. We did it His way, and God has blessed us in our marriage mightily, and we know that He wants to do the same thing for you as well. We've learned so much over this journey, and we just want to share some of the things that we've learned.
And we are newlyweds, about to be 3 years in, so we're still navigating and understanding marriage. But one thing we have navigated, one thing that I can say to an extent we're somewhat experts in, is the season of singleness. Yeah. We're still learning about marriage, but season of singleness, we know all about. And we're very passionate about encouraging people in their season of singleness and helping people to understand how to walk, to journey through the season of singleness. But not only that, but how to thrive in it and prepare for that next season. So that's what we're about to do today.
That's right. So what we've learned is that God has an order to relationships, and most people are just out here winging it. They just kind of go off what feels good, and I think I'm going to do this, and I like this person, so I'm going to go for it, but they don't really have a plan, right?
Yep, they're going to follow their heart, whatever feels good in the moment.
And I get it. That's cool. I've been there, done that, and I think most of us would agree it probably doesn't work out the best all the time. And if you look at statistics, a lot of people get married, but unfortunately, the divorce rate in this country is almost 50%, which means that most people are not dating God's way. They're not doing relationship God's way. So if we look at our foundational scripture found in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 39, it says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." In this verse, this is called the Great Commandment, where God lays out the order of relationships for us. And He says, love God first. Then He says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, which insinuates that you already love yourself before you love your neighbor. So He's telling us, love God first, love yourself second, then you'll be ready and have the capacity to love somebody else.
Your love should go upward to God first, inward to yourself second. Then, and only then, are you in the position to extend that love outwards to others. That's the order of love.
That's good. Say that again.
Upward to God first, inward to yourself second, then outward to others.
That's right. And that's kind of how we want to start off this new series, by admonishing you and encouraging you to love God first. Because when myself and Alexis met, even before we met, we were serious about our relationship with God. She was way more serious before I was, but when I got saved and gave my life to Christ, He completely changed my life, and I was focused on my relationship with God. I was reading the Word and going to church and going to Bible study and learning how to pray, because I knew that I wanted to be a husband and a father one day, and I knew I was going to have to be the priest of my home to be able to lead my wife and lead my family.
And really too, like we want to talk about, we've now explained the order of love, but we want to get into even the first part of that, loving God first. Like you said, like why? What is the value in loving God? And just to kick it off, like I think sometimes within relationship, even from a female perspective, I have friends and just different women that I connect with and that are waiting on God for the right person. And sometimes you can say like, yeah, I'm waiting, like, you know, God's going to send me my person. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to really believe that deep down in your soul, like know that you know. It's hard. Sometimes you look at circumstances, you look at the dating pool today, you look at society and just people's mindset and even the respect that people even have for a marriage. And it can be tough, but when you love God first, you're taking the time to get to know Him on a deeper level. You're taking the time to really know that He's the loving God, a God that will provide for you. He says that He will never leave you nor forsake you. He's not going to just let you down. So it's one of the reasons why it's important to love God first, is because when you love God first, what you're doing is you're elevating your faith to really believe deep down in your soul that God has something for me. This is not fairy tale. This is not something that I'm saying, but I know that God has somebody for me, and I've been there. I can relate and believing, and it took time to like really get that thing like deep down in my heart, but I believe I was able to do that and not waver my faith that He had someone for me, that He had this man for me, because I was in relationship with Him and I loved Him with all of my heart.
Yeah, and it's not about using God to get what you want, to get a spouse, but it's about allowing God to satisfy your soul and fulfill you, because unfortunately most people look to their spouse as God. Really, they look to them for their source of love and peace and joy, and to a certain extent, yes, that is true, but God is the only one that can fulfill that void, that hole that is in our heart. And that's exactly what He did for me. He filled my heart with love, with peace and joy. And God is good all the time. He always meets our needs. And because I sought after Him, He put a desire in my heart for a woman of God. And then He brought my wife, Alexis, a few years ago. And I'm so blessed because of it. So our whole thing is saving your marriage before it starts. We don't want you to date and try to do relationship God's way, and then you get into marriage and it fails. It's about doing the preparation and the work ahead of time. We always say preparation is key.
Preparation is key to life. One of my favorite sayings, something that I live by. And even in thinking about, like, you talked about how you spent time with Him, how you got to know God. And something that comes to mind too, sometimes you may be in a relationship and then that relationship ends. So that void that you're talking about, that pain, that hole in your heart, this may not always be a thought to turn to God first to fill that void. But literally, He's the only one that can bring that complete healing, that could mend your broken heart. But what society will tell you is just move on to the next.
Go get somebody else.
Go get somebody else. And now you think that this is what you're doing to make yourself feel better, but really it's like you're taking a heart that is already so fragile, that's already been broken, that's delicate, and is just like whatever, like YOLO or whatever you want to say. But really what is the best thing that you could do is to turn to God, to let Him do the work, to let Him heal your heart, not go on to the next. Because when you go on to the next, what happens is we're simply supposed to be a season where God can do the work, where God can heal you and prepare you for your next. Now you're going to find yourself in a cycle of getting in broken relationships, a cycle of putting your heart out there and getting broken and then coming back and doing it again. Your heart is too valuable. Your future is too bright. Your time is too valuable for you to now, and your heart to just be letting it go to whoever just because you're trying to fill a void, just because you're trying to heal pain, a broken heart. The only one that could really fill that void is God.
Yeah. God is a loving Father, and He loves us. He provides for us. He meets our needs. He fulfills our heart. He satisfies our souls. He gives us purpose. He directs our footsteps. He speaks to us. He leads us. He guides us. So should we wait on God for our spouse? That answer is a resounding yes. So we want to encourage you to do just that. Build your relationship with God first. make that the first and foremost priority of your life. That's our encouragement and our admonishment to you.
Start that foundation and preparing for that relationship, the relationship, by laying it with God. And really, when you do that too, God will be the center and the anchor of the relationship once it finally arrives. And literally, with our marriage, we're able to love each other. We're able to be successful because God is the foundation. And that foundation was set before either of us even came together. He started the work when we were separate because we loved him. And now when we came together, now that foundation is now connected. And not only is the foundation there, but it's also anchored in God. And we can't do what we do, where marriage is not perfect, but we are blessed to have an amazing marriage. And we know for a fact that it's because God is our foundation, and we made the decision on our own before we even met each other to love God and to put him first. So that's what we want to encourage y'all to do. It's the best decision that you can make.
So if you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, be on the lookout for more episodes in this season, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.